Inside Story Uganda. Real source of political up.
Ntitoyina ombuziza nti no bangambye. Kati tweyongereyo.
Once you say Prince referring a matter, giving a copy to an C1, then you know he's no longer Prince.
Soko kaddem.
Kasola bumulangira nga agenza okuwaba mu erosi. Obulangira baba bufundoze.
Ngoyogeredde mu ngero.
Yes.
Tugende maaso.
If you say Prince, defining a matter involving him with a peasant to an LC court, then he's no longer Prince. Yes. That's my summary.
Okay.
Akati mpagamba. If you mulaba mu parliament is a spillover.
Kalaba. Kalaba kaita the four mistakes by the Chogam group.
Nti abachogam nabo bafuna. Nabagamba kamba somero okuvana. Nabagamba nti abantu bano ekizibu kye bayina abenaale because they have no political party.
Bayina kizibu ki?
Aliwo omusajja omuyita Sikuku mu 75 yasala akabanero ka Kano esegwanga
Kenya
ne bamuyola ne bamusiba n'agamba Kinyatta naye ntwalawa ndi nkutwala kamiti kati kamiti bwe naavayo ntwalewo nze am telling them that an organization like a UPC cannot balwanagana nga Museveni yabaleetedde olutalo. You cannot fight a person ti omuzanyi w'omupiira agenda bayamba to score ne mumulinya ate mwabeewamu
temumuleetako buvune.
All governments must survive on service delivery ne muzibba no ne vanukana zo ne vaduka ne bazimba ebizimbe bye bagenda obbasuuza. That's why you are panicking. Nkugamba. And however, during the several meetings President Museveni held with the Commonwealth officials, including the then Secretary General, Honorable Don Mackinnon, it was clearly pointed out that the Secretariat, Chokam Secretariat, was totally opposed to burdening host countries, and the organizational costs had to be not to undermine the country's economic development. President Museveni, therefore, did not direct the buying of new vehicles as it was alleged. He was actually opposed to the idea, but the organizers came out with the argument that buying one type, one color and size was a Commonwealth norm that had to be expected and observed. The president finally decided to go with the idea. He, however, warned them against flouting political regulations. Kanonda kawandika ngaba bisente za choka ngabogera busiru bukomana wa siruru zikamba siti komanda bazibba sente era they avoided the budget naye wano demu joko bukenya ikaye agenda nabagamba on the purchasing of new communication security gadgets zone tezina jeziri. Museveni was also opposed to this. However, he was told that the existing communication facility would not work because it was only restricted to the army. The organizers pointed out that since Chogam needed close and constant communication between the army and the police, there was a need for a dual system that could link the two security forces together. Like in the Kadir, President Museveni did not want to spend money on another communication system, but the organizers found their way by creating situations that required buying the dual system. Teri nawo. Yabagula mukomero teri
Ubaya yononika.
Teri une nemashisi zidi. Na yoro nakulumu atema wanga ditugula abati ya muhozo. Wali watali ba muhozo wali gali nsalo. Wali jja ku screen ya TV no baduka no laba imbuto kuziba tekena. Olaba musajja akutte ku bitatule kantu kamuko kanile bitatule nga yingira mu toilet Mirundi esatu. Munne naduka nakasero.
Obujulizi we bulyo.
Bali mu meeting bagenda kulaba mu 7 today. Mbasonyiye sijja bakuba. On the Bwebajja Hotel, the organizers told the president that past experience had shown that journalists need a quieter environment and a hotel near the airport. This is how the Bwebajja Hotel came on the list. When President Museveni inspected the hotels that were to host the Chogam delegates, he also visited the Bwebajja Hotel. On this tour, the wife of the owner, now the widow, was hostile to the president. She wondered why the government had dragged them into a venture that was draining their resources. She pointed out that they had used their money, but the work was still incomplete. Omukazi yagamba Museveni mukiga. If we want to help us, police do. If not, tell us that we can do other things. and count this as a dirty deal instead of wasting our money. The president was touched by the woman's comments, and this is why more money was given. Omusajja yafiira mugundi. Yafiira omusajja we budget yafiira erich nsimbi ky'omusajja baakitwala. Whenever that woman finds me, ampaddola bitano.
Ani yakitwala?
Bakira bakibba. Bakiyinga omusajja yali azimbye complex y'amaanyi. Era bakisoma. Muli kisasema. Musomyo nnyo ebintu by'abantu. Obusoma bunusi. Ate nga babubbi. Ne basoma wano n'emikono gyabwe bagisoma. Ne nkugamba, on whether it was easy or not was not the president's problem. The organizers deceived the president. The journalists needed one place, and that place had to be near the airport, as if news is sent through parcels. During the conferences, journalists all over the world need one thing: the press center, where they can access information not to be near the airport. They also detest being herded in one place. Journalists want freedom and prefer to stay back and Kenya. Abamawuli bagala kubeera ku airport. Amawuli bagaweereza mu parcels. Never mujimbu. Obubbi ne bunuka. Obusuma bwe ne bunuka. Ate baakirekayo kyokka. Ne nkugamba nti ono omusajja omulaba ono gundi nabagamba nti the Chogamu members bakola ensobi. Ne mbagamba in Africa hunted meat is shared before the hunt, because hunters used to kill each other in the bush over meat. To stop these bush killings, wild meat is shared before it is killed. The one who detects the footmarks or muzizi has a particular part. One with the dogs is entitled to another part. And the netman or rutula has a particular part. The person who lands the first spear on the animal and the person who is kept at a strategic place where the animal is likely to pass in his attempts to escape akuma ekizigo, both have their different shares. It is up to these people to give some meat to others who are not considered important. So the Chogamu group forgot or ignored this is the practice of mafias in Uganda, principle of sharing a hunted meat. In Africa, in fact, hunters are strongly warned against an individual who tries to become a king on a stolen meat. Okwekoza ku nnyama enzibe ne mujoga buli muntu. Balina kubambwa, balina slaves, balina kubaba paka singa mumu yina sente. It can't be. You cannot rule a cattle or slave and master relationship. On hunter,
waliwo abamu be balina sente abalala
mwogera
biruwa
nti simanyi nnyama nkatono kala n'eri nkwa eva kuffe bayizi. Bana abakoze emirimu olumala okugaba naffe tukuddizaayo. Weeyawemudde toliimu. So nnyama ntono kala n'eri mu nkwa is abused, si bwe kiri. Naye tumuyinza kufuuka buli wamu wonna nga yayagala ngende ku TV atekayo sente. Okumanya abasajja bano bajozi bateeka ne sente ku TV ku ledi gwe mbogende oboogerere. Balina obujozi mu mitwe, obusumu n'obujozi bye bibaleetedde obuzibu. Nothing else. Bannayuganda baagala kukola byabwe. Nkugamba, the principle is stolen meat must be shared equally in order to avoid exposure. The moment disagreements develop over stolen meat, the deal will be exposed to the people, and eventually the owner of stolen meat will know. Leading kati message ayogera ya mumpale. Yes, ate message iliwo. Toli oluyimba kube message kati yiye. The message yiye.
Tamale.
Yes, where are the message? Message iliwo. They were bought for research. What is seen in the message? Tell us where the message is. Kabasi again.
Kosa research ne bamane bazita.
20 billion kabasi. Naga nti agenza kuchima ngondi bullets.
Ente Zambia. Ente
yodo nekolo mwali yo.
Ezobuwumbya.
Yamu wa minister. Yes Aida Bumba nekiduma kubiya ne babagoba. Kyovula bapanikinga. Ijoko litusoko bafumuka mu mutwe. Ijoko lituse. Mwibye nnyo. Ngati mubba mu bantu temulina rules. In the Ministry of Works, for example, 2 weeks before the conference, the former Commonwealth Secretary General Don Markinon arrived in Uganda. He found out that the road from Entebbe to Kampala was improperly done. The Australian contacted the president and explained what he had seen. The president toured the roads in his usual guerrilla style. of work. He directed the side director to investigate the matter. I don't remember whether the side produced a report. What I heard is that, as expected, it either exonerated the engineer or it was kept under the carpet. My efforts to get a copy were futile. On realizing that the president was not happy with the road, that in normal circumstances would give the guests the first impression of Uganda being an airport road, the Ministry of Works officials panicked. In this panic, they made a big plan.
To job na tetandikirawo.
Yes. President Macron yajja wano alambula entebe. Oluguudo balukoze amayinja gava ku gati emmotoka. Macron n'agamba president Queen tagenda kujja.
Nti Queen tagenda kujja.
Tayinza kujja ku luguudo lufaanana bwe luti. Olw'entebe lwennyini nga balubbi. Kati kye baakola as usual baakwata yingini y'abagonza. Bagonza ne bamukubira essimu tagikwata namuyamba nnyo. Nayamba bagonza nakugamba. It's because of these efforts and what it cannot be stated here that for legal fears that Bagonza found his out of prison and bail. Yeah, them works. Ne bamukubira essimu. Tankwata. But I helped him. Bamuyola nga bagala bwine jirikiti abo kubasula embwa bwe bamala okujoga ne bakusula ku jirikiti bakanyukayo baba tebanna kujoga nnyo kumalamu bakufuula kidoli bwe owe eriya yakala okusumula empale ne bakanyuka mu miti ya center eriya yakala okusumula empale munadi ayakala okusumula empale ali ludda ne bali kutambuza ngo buli omu okusumulira ko empale akusumulira nabigane yo
okuwa omulimu mu government kiba kibi
muzala yoyo yawaffe tebiri yonna ddayo ewange ndikola mu ndala setback is good in the politics nabagamba nga bano bebadde kukunzanyirako nabano bwe bakola bwe nabalwanyisa ne bagamba nti Museveni si yabibatuma nabagamba sadiri the assertion that the president was a part of the scandal attracted our usually opportunistic opposition MPs who wrongly believed that they now had Museveni on their trap. People like Nandala Mafabi and others gave moral support to the Chogamu group because it was undermining the president. When I came out to defend the president, some MPs tried to intimidate me that they could invoke civil service rules to order my sacking. In this, they underestimated Mirundi, the son of Yohana and Mole. They should have known, like these people you are talking to, that I was born, Joseph Tamale Mirundi. I was born 120 miles from the State House and not on the face or veranda of State House. I do not fear to leave it, even the job. Vice President Bukenya organized his supporters numbering over 2,000, where I was subjected to ridicule and intimidation. I stood my ground as I usually do, and the president did not sack me. State House ndi musajja mulwanyi wa ntalo tasobola kunjoga ne bwobani emanda tejoga temuyino kyemugabaje kijoza abantu tekiri ekyo tuyogesa ekyo kyemuyogera abaana babanamu nembukanyuka kasasiro nze ngende kasasiro kubanga ba B5 billion embo batwale kasasiro mbu organic case nze nagibatuma whoever is on the list of the organic case must condemn Museveni. Why? The ICC first contacted Museveni and the number was 157. So if you find your name, don't blame me. They first wrote to government. What these people, the arrogant fellows, did was to sack ministers involved after the other, undermine them. Otafire was sacked from justice. This man Kamutu was sacked from justice. Mukwaya was sacked from gender to sit on the. The rich people have been here for 2 weeks. Kamara and Davis, you are hearing me. I've been recording all our meetings. No, Rich Mirundi is a nuclear tourism. Minataka pesa, if ya pesa. He must go to Kalisa because there we can control his content. Kalisa, Jumu, Benyondo Mutwi. A jogerio, Mulagalo, Kumanyirerio, Iri Munjogerio, Jack Bomut, Nyondo Mutte. Yes, Tamale. I don't want to be
Evera incite me.
Must go to Kalisa.
Evera incite
him. A program that was no Yakuba Masimunjo. Hands off me. I hate you more than I hate each sheriff. You have killed my 14 years. You have killed 9 years. Nkwata kunyiza kuzigempa na bano. These people must compensate me. Tell you way out. Kuba ebyuma mbina intact. Meetings onanzina. Tujja kunjoga ku bya mirimo ebyo sibyendimu.
So kat.
In my opinion, what the Chogam group has failed to understand is that humbleness is a cardinal principle in politics. It is always advisable that if people beg for your political blood, remain humble or humble yourself. The public always sympathizes with the victim, not the arrogant ones. Political enemies are always satisfied with humbleness, or when their enemies are humbled by the situation. For example, the Kenyan politicians, Ruto and Uhuru, were indicted by the ICC, went to Hague. The TV images flashed on international media will eventually satisfy their political enemies. They have traversed Kenya for what they call prayer rallies. Anybody who goes to God over earthly matters is a sinner who needs mercy, not persecution. Gabugo, this is what happened. I said these people, the Rutos and the Uhuru, should go and humble themselves.
Okay.
They went to Hague. Ono you alowooza kutunia kumitona kutonya loko alowooza ajja kutujoka atuteke mwanda we yaze eza tusomesa twazewola bakitaffe bewolako ewammwe muli okumutujoga muteke mwanda we yazamu ebyo bukkiriza nti omwana nti najoga omusajja namukubira bwereere nali njagala bwa pulezidenti bwange naye tuyinza kunjoka nomugaa nti oyina okujja okunkola you pay. Museveni gave me money, you grabbed it. You must come and kneel before me. I will never kneel before you. It will shape your relationship with the state house staff in the future. Nakugamba Gabugo in Ivory Coast. Yes. Came out to invest to quench his enemies' thirst and to win sympathy from his supporters. That he fought to fall their votes up to the end. In the future, this should be a political asset. Anybody who pursues Gabugo makes him a political matter. Now, has humiliated himself. What happened to Gabugo? You're not in the Yugera way. Omuli nsona kumekujoga abantu akakkaneko obwa president bukulemye no yojoze bakadaga ojoze bannachobe ne batakaba maziga kaba baba abakubanga bebamba nojoga buli muntu yenna nonjoga ekiyitiridde nonjoga noyokola okunteka mwanda weyazungu olugosi nojjako ne programu zange yurupe ejoga kuli mutwe tumujja kutujoga bwe mutu nakugamba ntiwozi azishimirize himself in Uganda. Major General Muhwez was humbled by the police who raided his residence and turned down mattresses and sugar balls. Muhwez put up a brave face and not desert the government as expected. In fact, Besigye, who was attacking the government for not persecuting the corrupt, became Muhwez's defender overnight for opportunistic gains. However, Muhwez remained steadfast. Major General Moses Sali did the same. As a younger reporter in the Mundo newspaper, I covered Ali's first meeting with the President Museveni. He landed at Entebbe Airport with his own Land Rovers and the personal security that guarded Lake Victoria Hotel. However, when Moses Ali found himself on the wrong side of the law, he put up a brave face and bounced back in the political limelight. My considered advice to the Chogam group, like I give to these people who are involved in the organic case, is that they should emulate Muhwez, Moses Sali, and others who have faced similar over situations before. Ugandans want to see them in the dock, where they should confess their innocence and regain the full status in society. This is the embargo of politics. Every politician must undergo if he or she wants to regain lost credibility. Using the parliament and other state institutions as they are doing now is temporary and just a painkiller, like a Panadol. Subsequent governments will never hesitate to pursue the matter in the coding is on I don't see just the qua. Told you to quite a quiet dolo na quorum. Never monsters to the Sisibawa. Kalugire yagamba mu irrelevant. Nezikwata zonna neziwemba sezibabonyabonya until you humble yourselves. Nemutegeera nti bwe tuli bantu naffe banyaffe baatuzaala. We are not bought from supermarkets as dollars. We are not made by carpenters. We are not furniture. I'm a product of a sect act between my mother and my father. Mujjako mu kujoga abaana b'abannamu. Tetujjangako mu state house mutujoge. We did not meander into state house. Mukitegeere. We did not meander into state house. With the complete restoration of the state to normalcy by President Museveni and the introduction of all people policies as a prerequisite for a modern state, the only remaining factor politicians will use in the future to canvass support will be corruption and bedroom manners. Our politics will shift from bribery and manipulation to morals. It's better to clean themselves and a friendly government than waiting a hostile one. Nakawandika bili mukaka. No, yona alowooza kunteeka munda weyaze. He must come and kneel before me.
Kakati Tamale.
He must Kakati has a place where we control him.
Kakati Tamale. Mumbere.
If Allah tells me to go to I will defy Allah. Njokoli jogoli yokolisa ne munono. Libagwere muddala.
Tamale.
If any of my wives or children mentions NBS, I shot him in the mouth. Wow.
Tamale.
Wala kiradala nti ejogoli omulenzi ono tajja kuntwala wa Kalisa. Kalisa talidda mukunda bako.
Tamale.
Ejogoli bagwere ddala.
Kakati Tamale.
Okunya ku bantu.
Nga tuwumba. Tulabanga
ate. Nono museno bamugamba. Ogatolya bagamba. Ne minisita ya museno teriyo. Is under the president. They're looking for the president. As usual. They're looking for who?
For the president. Yes. Bogamba?
Yes. Bakuga nti museno ne ministry teriyo. Lwaki tekeno teriyo. These are the same idiots who are publishing photographs of Musenero driving tractors she had developed. Where they did ngaga wa sente gasama.
Kakati nga tumaliriza. Linki bus ngeyina ebizibu bingi. Never ku accident. Omuliro gubadde gujocheza. Ababbi babidde mweyo linki bus. Ebizibu dawa.
Linki bus nanyini yadduka. Linki bus nanyini yadduka.
Okudduka atati.
Anti yaveno nayo muyita wakuzanya. Yo muyita wakuzanya.
Atya.
Anti zenkubulidde nti sikubye katambi. But I'm waiting to this meeting. Because yesterday they had a marathon. Nole bitatuli ngagenda mu toilet Mirundi esatu bitatuli atuma omuntu mweleze ka video bitatuli akakasente ebyuma mbina
tubuliye ku link kino
ati kubulidde link za
ina bingi
yadduka
atokuba mumatya batya
owa link ya mu promotions owa link yabadde akubiriza meeting eggulo mutwalo okwewozaako bamusonyiwe yakubya business zabanene ne bamukwate wabitatule iruno lunyuma teriyo
owa link kyogamba si bizibu nti biri nakyo naye
nedda
Tamale
buli amudduka kabaddamu kuba
oyina obujulizi ku nsonga eyo
anti nkubudde link nanyinizo mu manyi era ali ono bamudduseeko olaba to the extent okuddi akawala bakagambe nti bakakwata nti mwenda si nawulya nsibiwulya nawulya kino ekisajja kyemugamba ekyettaka nakiwulira tikakika nti ati yabadde mwenda yabadde ne munni kati tuliki n'ekyo biba kiwa sente I've perused through that man's telephone numbers abamuwa sente bali mu gavumenti ya Museveni kakati kati tembo kubulira
nga tukinyumba umbe ekyo
those people were in a meeting a marathon meeting ngamba laba nensoka nembalinda ne bamala nembawereza message nti kino na kino byemwogedde analysis yange before but they respect him naye chairman bwe mala okusoma meeting bwa message namuwereza n'abagamba nga bawumba n'abagamba there is an important meeting now gwe kisajja gwontami ontami ndi ku TV ontami
tugende maaso nga tuwunzika
yali
mu dakiika 2
ati yali chairman nabaga nti do you know do you know we have a person inside the house basaakinga ennyumba nga tebandaba this man has been is in the house so they know marathon meeting egolo naje omusajja bamutwala talinya kwetonda no bamukutte mu nsalika yewagundi yawa ate bitatule yakwata ku mafuta bitatule bamuwanga oil na kibitatule oyo birabiyinza okuba ebitatule bamunyizemu katono nnyo nabaga nti Museveni teyeregerwako asooka n'akuleka bwati naye bwakukuutanga enkyakya
mbebaza mwenna ababaddeko nako olwaleero
omulasa twamugiddeko
omurussia bakutte bajjeno ba Amerika mu Russia abasirikale 2000 mu Mariupol
ate bulira ako kagonde kabuka katono bwekani naye omusajja yali agala okukwata omukazi bwakunyuka n'enniko omukoleraki akakalasa kantu kawe naye Kiev alinyeyo bamukubye ne bamunyusa bakubye Putin nawana waliwo Putin ne mu Uganda mulimu Putin yakubiddwa bakubye Putin wa Uganda
katonoko mu Kenya Tamale
Putin yakubiddwa
katonoko mu Kenya
ejogo lya Putin
Raida Amaro dinga twamulabyeko wano
Putin namulabye nga bamubaba ne bamutwala
kakati Tamale katonoko mu Kenya
yakubiddwe ejogo lya Putin anakakanako ese namuumula ne kalisawe
nedda kati Tamale Raila Odinga twamulabyeko nga sinkana president ne Salva Kiir geopolitics wafaawo kiraga nti no naye ali mu kufuna aba allies
no kakati kankuboli ona amulaga ndamu introducing muki mu ba leaders kubanga you must know nti kati oli bamufiisa they are seeing him or kati ukuru ya mukolya mileage political mileage but if you concentrate on foreign affairs when the ground is going kubanga mistake kundi yakoze Raila is one to have a vice president omukazi
omuchala Martha Karua.
In Africa women don't follow their fellow women in fact you can see tinabana bebaletawo electoral college ne bajijjawo ndibaleta ki kati you can see in many cases abavuka be balonda abawala abalungi era ebifaananyi by'abakazi tebifaanana ki yes
ngabwe bali
kakati atono najja alonda omusajja omukikuyu nti mubbi ninga baya bukanada nani ne gundi kakati akalulu tekanaba kubeera gundi tu gundi ono nga bamuhumiliate nze bahumiliate nzane bahumiliate nze musoka
Kalonzo Musyoka
banga musoka bamutadde mu interview bali balowooza nti bamuhumiliate nze but
naye nagenda n'alangirira
onya politics rotate around abakamba yinza okugenda nabo yes abakamba yinza okugenda nabo
kati gundi eberanga ekyuseemu
yes kakati ona amulaga tekatambuleko nebweru stress eri mu Kenya katambuleko ebweru alabe tukikola stress eri mu Kenya Museveni babadde balowooza nti awagira luto let me and see him and to cool down the gun
nkusibudde
tolaba Mayiga bwe yakuze emyaka 33 ekyo obufumbo gye giri simanya 32 kakati Raila Odinga akulinga stress they can even have time to go away
okay mbebaza mwenna betubadde nabo banja abadde wano nandujja Stella Moses twahambadde ku Facebook page ya Saka Mutyaba e Bahrain Favor Namala nawe Bana Kasulu nawe obaddeko Frank UG Alvin Mwanje magazine wafulumiza
oluyimba luyimbire nyoko
yino political landscape wakujeda
ngenda jubaloke
eyamuhozi
nyoko oli kifinyo
kaleta nedda data yino magazine eyamuhozi njirabye ajimpadde Moses birthday so kompenekano nakondabe bonna bwofulumya bwa muhozi ompa butabo bukalu tompa ku ttooke kani muhozi kaine rugaba become muhozi nkalabyo wana muhozi's birthday party changes political tugende tuvudde wano tubebaza mwenna atatukumira mpeera abankuumire mwenna mwebale